Hey guys, this is episode 7 of self-hosting your notes application using 3DVista tools. In this episode, I want to talk about sending email notifications. So, I mean, it's optional, right? Like, you can also just tell people, hey, log in daily or log in every week or send them an email if you've assigned tasks to them. But I think it's cool to have something where you can say, okay, if you assign a note, that it automatically just sends this email notification to the user. So I'm not going to show you the full process. I'm just going to show you enough that you know how to move on with this and show you the most important things. So we're using base row for this whole thing, and I'm using Coolify to install base row. But as well, we need init for this to do the email notifications, at least automatically. So I'll quickly in Coolify add in a new resource. Search for init, and over here I'll say, okay. I've got a wildcard domain for this to already have the A record set up for tutorials.360creators.com. So I only need to fill in something over here. I'm choosing self-hosted n8n. I'll hit save and I'll hit deploy. Now, if you haven't done it yet with the DNS records, you need to create an A record pointing to the IP address of the VPS or dedicated server that you're choosing. At some point you see that it's not moving anymore, so you close it, go back, and you just wait until this turns green. So now it still doesn't. Maybe we just need to refresh it. Click on this refresh, and now everything is green. That's great. So click link, open this up. I'll set up an owner account. This thing over here is optional. Yeah, I think it's pretty nice to have this debugging stuff, so it might be worth it. For now, I'll just skip it. And then in here, what we need to do is we need to start from scratch. And what we'll do here is a webhook. And we begin with the test URL, and later we'll go production, and the only difference is here webhook-test and production. This is just webhook. That's the only difference. Okay, I'll copy this test URL. I'll listen for test event. And in base row, what I can do in the notes, we need to say webhooks. Create webhook. I'll say new note. And I'll say based on this URL. Now the only thing here is we set HTTP method to get, and this should be both equally to this, I believe, and we'll figure out soon enough. And you can say rows are created. Now you can say over here trigger test webhook, and we're receiving things, so that's great. Hit save for now. The only thing we might want to look up is the email address of the assigned user. So right now in this notes, when we're creating a new note and it's assigned to someone, we don't know what the email address is, but we can figure that out with a lookup. Because right now when we would look into n8n, we would not be able to find all of the information that we would want to. So let's check it out, and we do the test. All right, then we go to the virtual gallery, add in a note, I'll assign this, and let's see what's happening here in n8n. So we'll hit submit, and right now we can see the information that we have access to. And when we compare that back over here with the notes, we can see here a lot, like the view link, username, user assign. But one thing that we don't have is the email address of the user. So we need to make this part of the body as well in end-to-end. The way to do that is to say user assign, then on the right side, insert right, we'll do a lookup. And over here we'll call this user assign email. Here we can say user assign, and then we want the user email. Okay. And now we have this as well. So now when we go back again, try this again, make sure that listen for test event is on because it's a test webhook. And when it's the production one, you can just forget about this, but now we need to do this. And I'll assign this to myself. I'll hit submit. And right now, what you can see is we get the user assigned email with my email address. So now we can use that in an automation to send an email to the assigned user. There are various nodes that you can use. If you use Gmail, Gmail is quite straightforward setting up. Others I'm not entirely sure with. Mailgun is something I would probably go for, like something with SMTP. Maybe SendGrid. SendGrid could be one. Mailgun could be one. In any case, here you can say, okay, let's look up this email address over here. This is the to email. Here you could say something like notification@yourdomain.com. I don't have the credentials set up, so it's not going to actually work. But that makes it a little too complicated for this video at the moment. I will say subject. A node has been assigned to you. And then in the text, you can say something like hello, and then we need to look for the assigned user. So user assigned a value. Because this is, I believe, usually is HTML. So yeah, it's sometimes a bit complicated to write a nice email. You can try like this. Maybe it works. But if the enters do not work, then you need to do this. And then twice if you want to do 2 breaks behind each other. I'm going to assume for now it is going to work. So, hello Ronald. There's a new node assigned to you by, and then you can say username Ronald. So whoever assigned it to you. And then you can say over here the link. So now we need to figure out a way to receive the view origin path. So I can now say view origin path, and then we can say question mark, and below we see an example of how the link looks like. And then we can say the view link, or even better, this is one way of directly taking them there, but then you're taking them outside the application. And I think it's nicer to keep people within the application. So for that reason, what we need to do is wherever we are going to host the application later on, let's say for now, I'll say something like awesomenodes.360creators.com. Let's say I'm hosting it there. Then we want to point the user to /node and then / the ID of the node, whatever that is. So I'll copy this. And then we need to find the node ID. And that should be this one, 25. All right, so now we can see, hello, Ronald. There's a new node assigned to you by Ronald because I'm also the one sending it. let's put in a comma here and do one dash there. There's a new note assigned to you by Ronald, and let's make sure it's HTTPS. awesomenotes.360creators.com/note/25. So that is going to be the link. And when people click on that, they will be referred to this. At this point, there's nothing on here, so of course this is a failed page, but it would then redirect you to the login page if the user is not logged in. If the user is logged in, it will just show up right away what is going on there. And from that point on, the user can start adding in the comments. So this is how the logic works. Currently, so I'm not able to test this completely, but this is basically how it works. And once you've got this set up, then what you do is you go to production URL, hit save, make sure it's active. Well, right now I cannot activate it because it's still failing, but making sure it's active. And back in Baserel, when we go to webhooks, we need to change this URL and remove test like this. And from that point on, when we hit save, then automatically once people added a new node, this will be triggered and people receive email notifications. Now, then at some point you might probably just copy this whole thing and do the same all over again. But let's see, you need to change the path to something else and do the same with the comments. So over here, again, you will do a lookup of the logic would work slightly different because you need to figure out to like a little bit more. Okay, there's one person commenting on the note, and you want to have the other person responding to it. So, okay, with comments it might be slightly more challenging. It's doable, right? But you got to figure out the logic there a little bit yourself. At least this will help you to get started in N8N and do it for the signed notes. If you need some more help with doing this also for comments, just let me know. Book an hour with me and we'll do this together. Then comes the part of actually publishing the application. So right over here, we can go to settings and we can say domains, add a domain. And we can say awesomenotes.360creators.com. Now, when I hit create, I need to add this CNAME record to my DNS provider. And because I'm self-hosted, like when you're using the Baserel Cloud, you add the CNAME record and it's done and it just works. When you're self-hosting, you need to do one extra step. I'm using Cloudflare to add in these records, so I'll go over here, start with CNAME, and I'll say awesome notes.360creators.com. This will need to point to the place where this Baserel is located. So I'll add in this IP address, and not the IP address, but the value over here. So I'll take this over here and put this over here. I'll hit save. But there's one more thing that needs to be able to forward this domain, and that is within Coolify. So when we go to Baserel, this is how I've set it up right now. And in the settings, what I can do here is I can add in a second domain so that this instance has also access to Awesome Notes. And I'll do that just by using a comma. Took me a lot of time to figure this out, but here you go. So awesome notes.360creators.com. We'll hit save and I know what I'm doing here. And now what I'll do is I'll hit pull latest images and restart. It's going to kick me off the base row for a moment, and in a minute I'll be back. So I think it's done by now. It's running green, so it's all good. Here we need to refresh the page. Just do a quick check if we really got everything how it's supposed to be before we really hit publish. Alright. Looks good. Yeah, we can still add in, we can limit the amount of notes. So we could say show max 5 or 10 notes. So things might be a bit faster. And this show more button will show up later on if you have a certain amount. Let's see, construction site. I think we're pretty good. So I'll close the preview. Close this one. And let's publish the application. So we go to here, settings. We can still change the theme if you like and change the color. So right now everything's blue. I might want to do something more like yellowish. Yeah. Background image, typography. I'm just gonna keep it very straightforward here. I could change the logo still to my own, but I'm not gonna care too much about that at this point. So maybe just a favicon. And now at the domain integrations, good. And on the top right, you can see publish. So let's click that button. We see awesomeNotes.360creators.com. Let's hit that publish button. It went super fast. So I'm super curious now. Okay, maybe that is just a matter of time. All right. So it's not yet all the way in place yet. So as you can see, this is one of the posts I did in the Baseball community. Took me also a long time to figure this out. I think that I might need to just restart, like do it one more time with pull latest images and restart. My bad, this was N8N. Need to do this with Baseball, of course. And I might want to, I think what I did wrong here is HTTPS was missing. So here I'll say HTTPS // yes. That might actually be making sense here. And let's just do this with base row. All right, so let's take a look. This is all turning green. That's good. Let's see if it already does something here. Yes, it does. So right now you can see we're on awesomenotes.360creators.com, and right now I can log in. So I can say, okay, log in. And right now I'm enjoying the final result here. And yeah, this is the Notes application, fully self-hosted on my own custom domain. I have an overview of the projects. Yeah, one thing we might want to add, and another one later on, is the permissions to set to show only the projects for people that need to see the project, like clients and stuff. That'd be like icing on the cake, the puntjes op de i, as we say in the Netherlands. But other than that, this is, I think, already pretty awesome. We can start adding in the notes over here. I've shown you how to send the email notifications. Yeah, here I still need to hide this inside 3DVista. just quickly going through this over here, user ID. Yeah, we're not doing that at the moment. We're using username. Might be better using user ID, but don't worry too much about it. View link, version path, project ID. Yeah, also due date. So you might want to add, you might want to add in the notes over here an extra field called date. This basically means a space bar, so it's due space bar date. So due date like this. You can create this one as well. And you might want to say or ask people, hey, can you also tell me when this task needs to be done, when you expect it to be done? Alternatively, you could create a formula and say, well, every task gets automatically 1 week time to be solved. And once it's out of date, then keep sending email reminders, stuff like that, or have an overview of these out of date tasks. But this is maybe for if people want to do this manually. So then over here in the add new note, we could then also say due date. Add this one over here. I don't think this is too important. You can probably just leave this as is. But you kind of get the idea that you can now add a due date. You can also go back over here to the grid view, add in something to upload files. So then you use the attachment, so file. Can go over here, and in this add new note, now we can say file, and on the bottom we'll see file. So now you can let people upload screenshots, PDFs, whatsoever, what you would like to have in there. I believe you can even specify it, but I'm not sure if that is in the normal plans or only enterprise plans. Talking about pricing, this base row /pricing. So when you're self-hosting, you get this over here. You can say it might be worth it when you are adding in new nodes that you want to maybe hide this powered by base row. If you do, then you might want to pay for the premium one, and this is per user per month, billed yearly. But that is just for you being the admin user. So if you are managing the backend, and you are the only one doing things in here, then that's more than good enough. If your client needs to have an overview as well of everything that's going on in here, yes, then you need a second user and give them access as well to this. But if you're doing it good enough, you can probably just make everything happening within the application. And within the application, you will be having all these users over here. Now, I've read some rumors that Baserow is planning to charge about $4 per app user per month. I'm not sure if they're going through with that or if they are going to change their plan as soon as this gets out of beta. That's something we'll have to see. In any case, I believe whatever they come up with, it will be worth it. Of course, it always depends a little bit on your specific use case. If you're actually planning to have 100 users in your app, then you need to do your calculations. But I believe most people have just limited amount of users in there with a few amount of clients. Maybe for clients to give them feedback on the virtual tours. But maybe it could be big construction projects where a lot of people need to coordinate everything that's going on within a construction of a building, and there's the digital twin of it, and you need to discuss what's going on. That's a different use case. But in any case, I I think it's really awesome. I think it's much better than something like a 3DVista hosting. When you are going to 3DVista notes, you'll see over here, like in the FAQ, something like with the 3DVista notes, you'll have this thing like the plan expired on my tours being deleted, tour notes being deleted. Yes, in order to keep the notes and continue to work with your team, you'll need to have a valid notes plan. The notes created will not be permanently deleted until 30 days after expiry. So you have 30 days of time and then everything will be deleted, so you do have to worry. And I don't know if they actually have an export option to, export your notes. I don't think they do. And this is all about the storage in your notes plan. So yeah, you get over here, 5, 10, 25 gigs of storage. You need to keep in mind all these type of things. In here, you can have a file attachment, and everything you put in this is based on Hasna Cloud. I mean, if you want to do Hasna Cloud, you get 80 gigs of storage for €6.80 monthly, plus one something for the IP address, so that is €8 more or less monthly. And that is for 80 gigs of storage. So that is already like 3 times more as this, for 5 times, maybe 6 times less the price of this. Here they limit you with 125 gigs of bandwidth. Here you get 20 terabyte of bandwidth monthly and not daily. Well, in this case, I don't know if this is daily or not. I believe in this case, they actually have monthly bandwidth, but with their hosting plan, they have like a daily bandwidth, which is really strange. That is related to 3DVista, so you always need to keep paying them. You'll never have like proper export options and stuff like that, as far as I can tell. Maybe I'm wrong. Just let me know if so. And of course you have Matterport notes. Which is, I mean, I've heard this is quite pricey as well, the Matterport notes. I don't know how pricey it is. I looked it up once, but yeah, you don't really get happy with this kind of stuff. So yeah, without looking too much further into all of this stuff, you just want to own your creation. And even though maybe the 3DVista thing might be cheaper, but you just never own that stuff. And when you're an enterprise type of company, you want to have control over the application, where it's hosted. You want to be able to say, okay, this is in Europe or in Canada or in the US. You can say all these things. You can always export all of these notes. So when you go over here, you can say here, you can say export view, and here you can get a CSV, JSON if you pay, or Excel or XML, and you just pay maybe for 1 month and you can have this whole thing exported, or you just accept the CSV. But you always have that option. Beside that, you can export the whole database with the application and just save it somewhere if you're not planning to use Baserow for some time. And later, if you are planning to get back to Baserow, you can easily import it again. So, for example, over here, we can say export data. And in here, you can export this, and then you will have the database with the application in a zip file, which you can always import in another Baserow instance. So if you're not planning to use Baserow for the time being, or the client doesn't pay anymore, but you just want to make sure that you still have a version of the latest version just to archive, you can just export the whole thing, save it on your computer, and if the client ever changes its mind, you still have all the data and you can just import it and have it all up and running very quickly again. So with this, you get much more control. You get incredible, huge amount of storage, no worries about bandwidth. Yeah, you can easily add new users to this. So, you know, this thing is incredibly awesome, I think. Yeah, and before I've been up to selling this, I've decided to open source like my own product over here and just give it all for free, all the way for you guys to enjoy. And yeah, if you guys do need help with it, you can just pay me hourly on certain things, and I'll help you with those type of things. In any case, that will be way more affordable than if I'd be setting this up for each client from the start, from how I was initially planning to sell this. We'd be talking about a few €1,000. And right now you get everything for free. And if you do get a problem, you can pay me just an hour and we might be able to already fix it. But you just do the work up front yourself to see how far you get with this based on this whole tutorial series. So as you are listening right now to this video, you probably have made it all the way to the end. So that's pretty awesome. Yeah, well, I hope you guys are enjoying this. I hope you appreciate the effort I've been putting into this this whole product to set it all up, to figure out all the formulas, and to share the whole thing with you. I will make an export of this workspace so you guys can import it as well. I've been purposefully giving like the whole set of instructions before. Instead of just giving you the end result right away, because the idea is that you understand how it works in Base Row and that you understand how to change things, and not that you're just receiving some final result. And if anyone asks you like, hey, how to change this or that, you're like, I don't know. But by following all of these tutorials, this whole series that I've created, you understand like much more about changing things to your own style, to your liking. And when clients is asking you questions, you know how to answer them and what is possible, what is not possible. So yeah, that's it. Thank you for watching. Thank you for your time. I hope you guys enjoy it, and see you in the next video.